Hi, I'm Joy, and this is my channel Yoga with Joy. And happy Christmas! It's Christmas Eve. Well, sometimes referred to as the most magical night of the year. It certainly was, it certainly felt like that for me when I was young. When I was a child, it felt incredibly magical. Today, I wanted to share with you about how I came to teach yoga. So I have a photo of a very special person. This is my father, and I'll explain later how he comes into the story. But yeah, he's just here with us right now. So my childhood was very varied and vibrant. I grew up under canvas at the beginning. First, I was born in a really makeshift kind of A-frame shack that my dad built. And it was in a teepee community in Wales and in the UK. And we then were living under canvas in teepees for quite a bit of my childhood, so there was no electricity or running water, or we had a compost loo rather than a proper toilet and things like that. So it was all very very alternative and very close to nature. So we were kind of living on the ground, we were living outside mainly. And with that, because it was the early 80s, so there'd been the 70s, I was born in 79, so there'd been the 60s and 70s kind of hippie movement, and out of that people had really found a lot from other cultures, so they'd been influenced. So a lot of people had been influenced by Eastern cultures and Native American and African and all sorts of things like that, and my family was the same. So we were living in teepee, Native American, and so my parents were chanting a lot with a group called Prater and all sorts of different, chanting around different festivals and camps and things like that. And so lots of the chants were mantras, like yoga mantras, and Native American chants and African chants and all sorts of different things. So lots of Indian ones. Yeah, this kind of developed I started going to Steiner schools. So my parents trained as Steiner school teachers. And my dad was extremely musical, and my mum totally loved music as well, and so music was a big part of the family. So there was lots of music being played all the time. And when I say that, I don't mean recorded music. It was my dad playing the sitar, the Indian sitar, or playing the guitar all the time, or the violin, or he used to make flutes, so he'd play his flutes. And also he was an African drummer, so he used to teach in African drums and things like that. So there was just basically music all the time, and then 4-part harmony singing came in. So right now, Christmas Eve, we'd all be singing 4-part harmony, Christmas carols and things like that. So yeah, it was a very beautiful childhood involving lots of different Steiner schools. They're the Waldorf Steiner schools, and I moved to New Zealand for 10 years, so we were from 7 till 17 I was in New Zealand. So the Maori culture was really, Maori and Polynesian culture were really prominent. And so we joined a kapahaka group, the New Zealand Maori singing group. So yeah, basically, I was just giving you an overview of my childhood, because it involved a lot of different cultures, was an influence from all sorts of different cultures, and it also included a lot of meditation. Both my parents meditated. My dad meditated pretty much every day, and although they weren't into yoga, as in hatha yoga, so much, it just wasn't. They went to some courses and did a bit of yoga sometimes, but they weren't like yogis, as it were. The meditation practice was a big part of that, and there was the Indian music was a big part, and things, in the chants and things. So the mantra. All around me for most of my childhood was yoga was there. So I knew what it was, and also an awareness of health and well-being was really big part of my childhood. So I basically found my own yoga practice when I was a teenager, I discovered a local, back in the UK, we came back to the UK, and I discovered a local yoga class just at the village hall, and it was really spiritual. It was like, there was incense and candles and mantra, and it was really lovely. Like, it wasn't your usual village hall yoga. Not that I know what that is, but it's really, I remember it being really lovely, and I was about 18. And also I think I was 17 when I did a week of Kundalini yoga as well. So these were quite radical, because actually my parents hadn't really been fully into yoga. So I was like, just found it myself, and with other, like my godmother and other adults. I had a baby at 19, and I suffered separated abdominal muscles. So the diastasis recti, down here, the rectus abdominal muscles were split. And so I've kind of, a lot of my adulthood, ever since horse riding accidents as a teenager, and then this very big baby, I actually found that I've had to look after my body. I've been kind of forced to, otherwise I'm in a lot of pain. So slowly, throughout my adulthood, my 20s and then 30s, I've got more and more into yoga, or practices similar to yoga. Pilates was fantastic, actually. That helped my back a lot. I was just really getting into the practice of yoga, but still hadn't really found a daily practice, and didn't, I was all quite haphazard with it. And I was trying out New Zealand again with a partner at the time, and it didn't work out. And I came back from New Zealand. My partner at the time had been really quite into yoga. But I came back partnerless at the time, because I needed to bring Rowan back to the UK, because I was a single parent Rowan's whole childhood. Rowan's 21 now, by the way. He's lovely. My darling father, Nick Prater, was dying. So we found out he had cancer. He was 65, and he had been like a massive influence and, massive gift to the world, basically, into loads and loads of people. So he had, taught lots of people to sing, and he had just been one of those kind of characters where people just go, wow, to be in his presence. So he was one of those characters, those special characters in life. And so I came back, he was kind of said, apparently I've got the big C, cancer. And so then it became a journey from the beginning of July through till Christmas Eve, 7 years ago today, when he passed away. And it was a journey of looking after him and nursing him and just watching him through this beautiful death. So it was painful. He had bone marrow cancer, myeloma, and it was, very, very painful, bones cracking in the body. So a very deep experience. And he got rushed to hospital in the November because he wasn't tolerating some medication, because he thought he'd try out the conventional medication. It didn't tolerate it at all. It sped up his death, as can happen sometimes. So Dad, this picture of Dad was when he had just come out of the hospital, and they'd kind of cleaned him out. They had said, he won't live through the night, and he did. And they'd kind of flushed out his system, and here he is radiant, feeling actually like, I'm ready to die now. And I'm feeling kind of quite good about it. And it's okay, I've done everything I want to in the world. And this was a prayer circle. This photo was taken at a prayer circle that he called for the community that we live in. So Dad used to live in this community too. But this was 7 weeks before he actually died. So, of course, as you can imagine, it was nights and days and all through the night of nursing and nappy changes and slowly dying until he was, very, very, very little. And it was pretty horrific and amazing and beautiful, and he was just present most of the time, and it's really amazing. Some of the things he came out with was just beautiful. And he said just around about this time in the November, I'm going to get to my birthday. And his birthday is on the 23rd of December, so the day before Christmas Eve, yesterday. So we were like, Nikki, you probably won't. We're like, I think you're going to die, really soon. But he was like, no, I'm going to get to my birthday. And so he got to his birthday, and we had a wonderful birthday with him where he obviously couldn't move really. But it was just, we all got to have some cuddles, and he was really lucid, and he passed away 4 a.m. on Christmas Eve. And it was just really beautiful, beautiful time. We'd been reading him Christmas stories, like children's stories, and there's a wonderful regression with death. And then he lay there for 4 days and 4 nights, and people just came in all through the day, all through the night, sitting and playing music for him. And he was at home, obviously. And it was just a day and night thing, and there was just lots of music, lots of poems read. People came from all over the country to come and sit with him. And it was Christmas, so that was amazing, So we buried him on the 28th of December. An amazing, beautiful burial at the green burial site over just near us. So we walked with his wicker coffin across the fields and down the lane and singing. We just sang and sang and sang the whole time. We were singing all of his songs because he used to sing beautiful 4-part harmony songs. And also there was just rainbows, rainbows, rainbows the whole time. So it was a very showery day with lovely sun, and so it was just constant rainbows. So he had his prayer flags around his little wicker coffin. He didn't want a lid on the coffin, so he was just wrapped in shrouds, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And then on the 4th of January, which is actually when my 7 days of yoga starts, which is interesting, 7 years ago, on the 4th of January, we had a memorial for him. It was a Saturday, and 500 more people came, and it was just amazing. So that's my story about Dad, who was really quite an amazing person. So that was his special thing, was that he had a real gift to the world. And actually, the reason why I'm mentioning Dad's death so much is that something I didn't mention just now was that I was looking into doing the Devon School of Yoga foundation training, and Dad said, he said, "Joy, do it." So he was really nearly dying at this point. He said, "Joy, do it, please do it. Do anything that prepares you for this. And yoga will prepare you for death. Part of yoga is getting used to it, preparation for death, and also looks after your body, because Dad had realised he hadn't looked after his body so well, and he is a young person, and he said, "Joy, please do the yoga training." And that was a wonderful gift. So it's his parting gift to me, was to really encourage me to do the Devon School of Yoga foundation course. I didn't know I was going to teach. So happy Christmas, and I hope you have a really wonderful Christmas time, or you are having a wonderful Christmas time. Thank you, Dad, for everything you've given me and everything you've taught me in my life. Amazing. It's just been such an amazing honour to be the daughter of Nick Prater. We sing In the Bleak Winter to Dad every year at his burial place, with some mince pies and Earl Grey tea, which are his favourite, or were his favourite. Though, none of us can drink caffeine anymore, so. And hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas time. And namaste.